What's up guys, my name is Kale, and today on the King Games we're doing another head-to-head comparison of two very similar seeming blasters. The Adventure Force Maxim Pro and the Nerf Pro Stryfe X.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Two Pro Flywheel blasters at two very different price points. But does price equal performance? Are there key features that we're missing? I wasted my money on both, so you don't have to. Let's see how they stack up. Now, these two blasters have some glaring similarities, and both are modern takes on the classic Nerf Elite Stryfe, one of the most adored Nerf blasters to ever exist. And if you're wondering which of these two blasters you should buy for yourself or someone else as a gift, then this is the video for you. We're going to pit these blasters against each other in 6 different categories: price/value, how hard they shoot, how accurately they shoot, the accessories that they come with and their compatibility with other accessories, aesthetics and ergonomics, so how good they look and feel to use, and of course, last but not least, mod potential. Then I'm going to tell you as a pro player which one I think is the overall winner, but first, to properly introduce our contenders, starting with the Maxim Pro. The Maxim Pro is a mag-fed, flywheel-powered blaster. Since it's an Adventure Force blaster, it is a Walmart exclusive. In the box, it comes with the blaster itself, one 12-round mag, and 12 of these Adventure Force Pro darts. It also comes with some iron sights, both a front iron sight and a rear iron sight. They're both very low profile, and it comes with eye protection. Nice. It has a magazine release, a rear strap, back strap, or squeeze to rev trigger. They all basically mean the same thing. The rev is on the back. It also has the firing trigger. It actually has 2 sling loops, one right here and then one built into the grip. We have our magazine release right here. Then we actually have a safety which locks the rev from working at all. It also has a full length of Picatinny across for your various attachments, as well as a little bit of Picatinny here under the flywheels in the front portion. Now, the shell itself is a transparent orange, which is very cool because you can see all the internals of the blaster as they work. Well, except for the part that's covered by this textured purple camo print, which I love that Dart Zone's been doing lately with their blasters. If we flip it around, that same kind of textured print is on the battery door. This blaster is powered by 8 AA batteries, and you can access all of that by unscrewing one screw right here on the battery door. It also has the end strike attachment point for stocks, so you can attach your favorite Nerf branded stock to this blaster. But you don't have to source your own because it comes with one.
Yes! Come on! Yes!
Now, this is a 2-part stock. The first portion is an end strike to buffer tube portion, and then the second part is the buffer tube stock itself. And all of this retails for just $40 US. Now, let's talk about the Stryfe X. Now, the Stryfe X is also a mag-fed, flywheel-powered blaster. It is an Amazon exclusive, and in the box it comes with, of course, the blaster itself, one 15-round magazine, and 30 of these AccuStrike Nerf Pro darts. It also comes with this proprietary enclosed LiPo battery, and it comes with a cable to charge it, and included eye protection. Also nice. Now, it does have the end strike attachment point as well on the back. We have our magazine release right here. We have a traditional style rev trigger right here. We have the trigger for firing right here, and then underneath the trigger guard, we have our safety. We also do have that jam door up top, so that way you can access jams or see what's going on with your blaster. And then we have 2 sections of rival rail, one right here at the back on the top, and then one underneath here where you can attach like a foregrip. There's also 2 sling loop locations, one right here in the front above the muzzle, and one right here in the back on the bottom of the grip. Now, up in front, it does not have an end strike barrel lug like the original Stryfe had for attachments.
Oh, man!
Now, this blaster is a legacy blaster, as it is a direct successor to the original Stryfe that was released in 2013.
So you're the legacy.
That's right, legacy!
This new X variant is the first blaster to kick off the Nerf Pro line of foam blasters. But since this blaster came out, there have also been 2 more blasters added to that line, the Nerf Pro Torrent and the Nerf Pro Sender. If you want to see reviews on those, I will link them in the description below. This blaster and everything it came with when it came out was originally $120, but at the time of filming this video, the new permanent price is $86 on Amazon. Now, the winner of the price category has got to be the Maxim Pro. This blaster is less than half of the price of the Stryfe X, but does price equal performance? We'll talk about that in the next category. Now let's take both these blasters over a chronograph and see how hard they shoot. And to make this comparison fair, Not only are we going to test each blaster with the darts that they came with, but we're also going to test them with the darts that each other came with. And in addition to that, we'll be testing them both with a neutral dart, the Worker Gen 3. That way, if the dart is the weak point, both of these blasters will get a chance to be rated fairly. Now, this is something that we have seen in the past with previous versus videos, especially with the Nerf Rival Vision versus the X-Shot FaZe Clan Respawn video. Now, with the Stryfe X on its included darts, we have a high of 172 FPS, a low of 161, an average of 166, and a spread of 11. On AF Pro darts, we had a high of 155, a low of 147, an average of 150, with a spread of 8. And on the Worker darts, we had a high of 153, a low of 129, an average of 144, and a spread of 24. With the Maxim and its included darts, which are the AF Pros, we had a high of 150, a low of 146, an average of 148, with a spread of 4. Then with the Nerf AccuStrike darts, we had a high of 143, a low of 110, an average of 131, and a spread of 33. When we switched the Maxim over to the Worker darts, we had a high of 151, a low of 139, an average of 147, with an FPS spread of 12. When it comes to this section, the winner has to be the Stryfe X. It has a similar average and spread to the Maxim on both Adventure Force darts and Worker darts, but on its own darts, it scores both the highest overall shot as well as the highest average. Now, the Maxim is no slouch in this category, though. It just simply isn't optimized for those wider head darts. And honestly, I was kind of scared to put the AccuStrike darts through this because I was afraid the wide heads might actually break this blaster. But both of these blasters sit in perfectly for super stock 150 or even a split cap like last year's Ragnarok Oktoberfest. Now that we've seen how hard they both shoot, it's time to see how accurately they shoot. When it comes to accuracy, both of these blasters are excellent for the brushed motor flywheel category. On AF Pro darts, the Stryfe X hit the target 5 out of 5 times with 1 bullseye, while the Maxim Pro hit it 5 out of times but with 0 bullseye. On the Nerf Pro darts, the Stryfe X hit the target 5 out of 5 times with an astounding 3 bullseyes, while the Maxim Pro hit the target 5 out of 5 times with 1 bullseye. On Worker darts, the Stryfe X hit 4 out of 5 times with 1 bullseye, while the Maxim Pro hit 5 out of 5 times with 1 bullseye. Again, this section is very close, but the Stryfe X ultimately wins. While the Maxim Pro didn't miss any of the shots across all 15 shots, and the Stryfe X did miss once, the Stryfe X managed to accumulate 5 bullseyes within the same 15 shots, while the Maxim only accumulated 2. Now, when it comes to the next section, accessories and compatibility, both blasters have their strengths and weaknesses. The Stryfe X comes with larger magazine, more darts, and the includes LiPo with the USB-C charging, has built-in safety mechanisms, which is extremely convenient. It's also compatible with your favorite N-Strike Nerf stocks, like this orange Gear Up Raider stock, but it doesn't come with one. It also features Rival Rail as its attachment ecosystem, which has very limited compatibility both with first-party items and third-party accessories. And up front, they've done away with the N-Strike barrel lug from the original Stryfe, so many of the body kit's front ends will not work with this blaster, at least not right out of the box. Now, I do have some solutions for this in the mod section of this video, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video for that. Now, the Maxim Pro does come with its own stocks, takes the N-Strike attachment stocks. Right out of the box, it can also take buffer tube stocks with this included adapter. It does come with its own pair of iron sights, and has the more widely supported Picatinny rail, so it can take a lot more attachments, like this airsoft red dot sight, sidecar blasters like the Herja or the Little Rocket series, and even these Worker Picatinny sling loops, which I featured in the most recent episode of Mail Time. If you haven't seen that, then make sure to check that out after this. Now, even though this blaster does have the same N-Strike attachment point as the Stryfe X, it cannot take all the same stocks because of this sling loop. And this is an example of one of those such stocks. Unfortunately, the sling loop just gets in the way. Now, just like the Dart Zone Pro Mark III, this blaster does not need to be rewired in order to use a LiPo battery because it has an XT connector underneath the battery tray. In fact, because this is a transparent shell, you can actually kind of see it without even taking off the battery door. In the case of the Mark III, it's an XT60 connector. In the case of this blaster, it is an XT30 connector. Now, one area to note for both of these blasters is magazine compatibility. And while both of these blasters come with their own versions of Talenoids and are both Talon compatible, there are glaring issues in this department for both of them. The Stryfe X has a very tight mag well, and although Talons do actually fit, there is a lot of resistance going both in and out.
What did he say?
But the Stryfe X has a very smooth experience with both Coda mags and Taco mags.
What?
And that's because they have slightly thinner geometry than traditional Talons. Now, this could be taken care of with some light sanding on the inside of the magwell, but it's still important to note. As for the Maxim, well, there's an issue that I haven't seen any other reviewer talking about. It fits and feeds all of the Talenoids that I have just fine, but it doesn't retain any of them. And with a slight amount of wiggling, I can pull out pretty much every single one I own without striking the release.
Yes, that's concerning.
So funny enough, the only mags that it seems to work reliably with without having this issue seems to be the ones that it came with. And the Nerf Pro mags. With both of these, I have to strike the mag release in order for those mags to come out at all. Now, this is something I discovered during active gameplay when I was originally testing this blaster. I'd be running off the break, and when I actually get the cover, I'd realize that my magazine had dropped 5 to 10 feet behind me. Oh, I'm gonna need that mag. It's hard to tell if this is a widespread issue or if this is just an issue to maybe a single batch. Obviously, it's not just my blaster. I've seen a couple posts on social media about this, and also locally, I've seen a few players who have this same issue. Again, I'll talk solutions for this problem in the mod section of this video, but without any modding in the context of a tournament, this single thing right here would be a deal breaker for me. Now, that being said, you might be surprised to learn that the Maxim Pro still wins this section. Now, the enclosed light ball in the Stryfe X is undoubtedly a game changer, and I go over why in the full review. But the Maxim simply has the better rail ecosystem out of the box for modless customization. And it comes with more accessories that the Stryfe X doesn't come with at all. Now, when it comes to how these blasters look and feel to use, there's always going to be an element of preference. But in my opinion, I think these blasters are in a dead heat. Both of them have comfortable grips and good placement of the bottom rail to add a foregrip. Now, the profile of the Stryfe X is everything that the original Stryfe was, but with a bigger grip here for adult-size hands. And the color separations on this blaster look so good. But I'm not a fan of the asymmetrical protrusions for the battery and the flywheels. Meanwhile, the Maxim Pro is sleek and a very similar size to the Stryfe X, but in a more curvy shell.
What did he say?
I also really like how the shell is transparent, so you can see all of the internals as they're working. I also really like this textured camo print that Dart Zone has been using on their Adventure Force blasters lately. But I do feel that the squeeze to rev mechanism on this blaster, while better than their implementation on the Venom Pro, is still an Achilles heel on this blaster. It just simply isn't as ergonomic as a dedicated rev trigger or a dual stage rev trigger. I will say though, it's much better to use when you have a stock on than without one, because then you have better control of the blaster without this hand and you can press up on it firmly. Ultimately, I truly feel like these blasters are tied in this category, with a slight edge in aesthetics going to the Stryfe X and a slight edge in ergonomics going to the Maxim. However, if it wasn't for the backstrap rev, I think this blaster would have won this category and had a blowout in ergonomics instead of a slight edge. Okay, last but not least, we need to talk about mod potential. Now, the mod potential of the Stryfe X is high, but with some caveats. It can take some parts right out of the box that were originally designed for the OG Stryfe, including some parts from the infamous Chris Vector kit. The adapter and top rail fit with no issues. Now, I also cut down the main part of the kit to create this angled handguard, and I basically just cut off the rest of the kit so I wouldn't have to deal with the connection point here on the grip, which would not work. There are also some rail adapters and extended mag releases from Out of Darts and Silver Fox Industries as another way of getting Picatinny rail on this blaster. Now, there is also a 3D printed replacement for this barrel right here, which will bring back the End Strike barrel lug, which will give you compatibility with the front ends that I was talking about earlier. And with the extended Picatinny that you could get from one of those kits, you also have room to make a master key, which is where you mount another blaster on an underbarrel to basically get multiple ammo types or a last chance shot or something along those lines. Now, if you're looking for more power, you can get 200 FPS on this blaster with minor shell cutting using Band Blaster's wheel and motors. You can also sand down the mag well, like I was talking about earlier, to get better compatibility with mags and just reduce that friction. And you can also drastically increase the feel of the trigger by swapping out a few springs. So shout out to Captain Xavier for putting me onto that mod. But aside from mods that are actually designed for the OG Stryfe or ones that are meant to make this take ones that are for the OG Stryfe, there aren't many dedicated mods for this blaster, and it leans heavily on its predecessor for its mod potential. Now, the mod potential for the Maxim Pro is actually moderate. Aesthetically, there aren't many mods for it. The only one that I can think of that changes the look of this blaster in any meaningful way, probably the Xbox Games Kit. However, in terms of functional mods, there are quite a few. First off, it was designed to take the OG Stryfe's full auto mechanical kit as a drop-in. And this blaster can also take Banshee cage wheel and motors to get 200 FPS, or Manchies and quick draw 180s as an alternative. There are also a few other accessories like an extended mag release. You can do extended battery trays, and also there is a dedicated grip that Paper Skeletons did, which is pretty cool and only fits this blaster. But honestly, there's nowhere near the amount of mods I expected to see for this blaster. It makes me feel like I might have to make some mods of my own in order to make up for it. There is, however, one mod kit that I think is an absolute game changer, at least in my opinion, for this blaster. And that is the solenoid conversion kit from out of Darts. That kit does several things to fix the things I don't like about this blaster. First off, the extended mag release seems to have fixed the mag retention issue. I think that it's possible a stronger spring could also do this trick, but I just haven't had any issues with that version that I have been with this version. Second thing it does is eliminate the squeeze to rev and introduces instead a dual stage like the Nightingale. And last but not least, the mechanical pusher is swapped out for a solenoid. Now, I have talked in the past about how much I like mechanical triggers, but the one on the Maxim Pro is nothing to write home about. The solenoid really changes the tactile feel and snappiness of the trigger. And all in all, I want to give a huge shout out to Out of Darts for letting me borrow this blaster and try it out. After trying it out, I am 100% certain that I should do this to mine. So when it comes to mod potential, both of these blasters have the same FPS potential, and both have 3D printed or readily available parts. The mods that are available for the Maxim Pro are mostly functional mods that provide either performance or quality of life improvements, but it is sorely lacking in cosmetic mods. While the Stryfe X has more cosmetic mods going for it, but it still does have some performance-based mods. Ultimately, in this category, the Stryfe X is the winner because it has a more diverse set of mods available for it. It does feel a little bit weird giving the win to the Stryfe X here because, like I mentioned in the beginning of this section, most or all of its mod potential comes from adapting OG Stryfe mods to this blaster as opposed to Hasbro giving it to us right out of the box. But I guess this goes to show that no matter what the mothership wants, the hobby will find a way. Now for my final thoughts. Both these blasters are excellent semi-auto SMG size blasters with good accuracy and power out of the box. And I could see an argument for either one. If you're looking for the cheapest overall option and are willing to do a little bit of modding, I think the Maxim Pro is probably for you. On the other hand, if you're looking for a blaster that just works out of the box, makes lipo safety easy, and can be modded cosmetically, then the Stryfe X makes more sense. But if I had to only pick one, then it's gotta be the Stryfe X. Well, unless you're doing the solenoid mod from Out of Darts, then it'd be the Maxim. Let me know down in the comments which of these two blasters you'd choose and why. And if you like the kind of content we're putting out, then make sure to mag dump that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. So that way you're notified when we do the next one of these versus videos. Now, despite how detailed this video is, I still didn't cover everything on these blasters, so if you want to see me do an in-depth review on the Maxim Pro with more testing and of course gameplay footage, then make sure to let me know down in the comments. I already did an in-depth review for the Stryfe X though, so be sure to check that out next. Or if you want to see a different versus video, then you can check that out over here instead. But that's all I have for you today, and until next time on the King of Games, have a blast.